Hi everyone, welcome to Crochet Rocks. My name's Tracy, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a mile a minute scarf, and I'm going to be using two 50-gram skeins of this Knitting Essentials DK yarn. And a DK is a 3-weight in the US. This is lovely and soft. It's one of my favourites from Poundland, but this I'm also going to use Hayfield Spirit, and that's a 100-gram skein, and I absolutely love this. It's one of my favourites, and again that's a DK double knit, and that's a 3-weight. So I've not got one in that particular colour scheme to show you, but I did make one earlier using this pretty Larry yarn. It's a kind of a bright pink, and I edged it with the this is Poundland yarn as well. This is the Brights one, but it's quite bright. I haven't sewn in all the ends. So for this tutorial you're going to need a 5mm crochet hook. Sorry about the lights flickering, I've just had a power cut and it's just this second come back on. So a 5mm crochet hook, pair of scissors, and a usual kind of darning needle. So if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and hit on that notification bell, and you'll be informed when I have tutorials, which I do have quite a few, chat videos and yarn unboxings, happy mail, everything, and live chats as well. But there's lots of giveaways, so please check those out. I've got some going on at the moment, but whenever you watch this I dare say there will be some. So I'm going to show you how to make this in just 1 second. I've just got to pop this on pause and turn my phone on silent. That's better, sorry about that. So here I have my yarn, and I'm going to do a slip knot, which you can do however you like to do them. And we're going to make this top part first of all. So it's just this part here, and as you can see, it's so that we have a flat edge to our scarf. It doesn't matter how many times you want to go around as a border either, but it's slightly different from the rest of it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So we do a total of 7 chain. So that's yarn over and pull through the loop, yarn over and pull through the loop, and we want 7. So that's 3. So I have 7. Now what we're going to do, we're going to work in the very center one. So this loop on the hook doesn't count. So we count up 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's our center. We've got 3 this side and 3 that side. So we're going to yarn over, and you want to go into the stitch. I like to go in to 2 loops and pull up a loop. So we have 3 on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we've got a treble crochet, and these chain here are going to count as another treble. So we're going to chain 1, and going into that same stitch we're going to do another 2 treble crochet. Now a treble crochet is a UK term, and in the US that's a double crochet. So we're going to do 2 more, and chain 1, and we're going to go into the same stitch again and do another 2. So we're just making our gaps for that end part. You need 2 corners and a middle. So we're going to do another chain, 1 more in that same stitch. So that is, we're now doing the equivalent of this side. So we're going to slip stitch into our very first chain that we did. So when you look at it, you have 2 there, 2, 2 and 2, all separated by 1 chain. So we need to get that tail out of the way because we don't want it to get confusing, and we turn our work upside down. Excuse me. So this is what it looks like, and we've got our sets of 2s separated by our single chains, and this is the stitch that we've been going into. Now we're going to continue working in this stitch but the other way around. So first off we're going to do 2 chain, and we're going to do 3 treble crochet or double crochet in the US in that hole, that same hole. Now you might want to pull them over slightly and do 2 chain, and we're going to do another 3 in that same hole. Looks like a lot, but it all works out. So that's 2, pull it over a little, get our last one in. There we go. And as we did the 2 chain here, we're going to do a treble crochet. Remember, that's a double crochet US in that first the top of our 3 chain there. So it's yarn over, go into there and do our stitch. So now we're going to forget about this bottom part, and we're going to turn our work, and we're just going to be working upwards with this shell pattern. So we do 2 chain. Now what you're going to have now, I'll show you on here, you're going to be doing this part. So there are just 3 trebles, 2 chain, 3 trebles, and we're going to repeat that, and we'll do 2 chain each side. Well, one will be a chain and one will be the treble at the end. We're going to do that, and it's going to make our posts at the end. It will all become clear in a second. So we're just going to continue by doing our 3 treble crochet, two chain, and 3 more in that same gap. And then what we're going to do, just pull some more yarn out. It's getting a little tight. I don't like that. Get rid of that tail. So what we're going to do now is, these are our end chains. We don't want to go in there. We want to go in this very last, let me just zoom in a smidge, so if I can. We want to go into this very, the last of our treble crochets of our 3. So we're going to go into there with another treble crochet. Remember, that's a double crochet in the US. So we're now making our posts and our shells. So we turn our work, 2 chain. So we're making, because this is where we're going to go into at the when we go around it. So now we're going to do 3 treble crochets, oops, I've just dropped it. I'm not used to this hook. I'm just trying them out for the first time. 2 chain and 3 more in that same gap. And this is our repeat. And again, we're not going to go into these here. That looked dimmed the lights, didn't it? We're not going to get another power cut. And we're going to go into this one here. So it's yarn over and go into there with another treble crochet or double, as whatever you call it in your neck of the woods. And we're just going to continue to do that until we get the length that we need. And I'll show you on this scarf here. These are our strips, and these are a total of 64 of these shells. That's not counting this downward one. So that I did, sorry, 65 shells. I did 64 on my other one. I made another one. So that's 65 in total. But when you put that around your neck, once you've made one, if you put that on and it doesn't seem long enough, then you can carry on. You do just as long as you want it, really. But 65 was perfect for me. So we just carry on making our strip in exactly the same way, taking care when we do our last treble crochet that we go into that that stitch there. Sorry if I'm going off of camera. So this is what it's, I'll zoom out. This is what it's looking like. I don't know, I think maybe the pink would have been a better background on this table, but that's what we're looking for. We're going to have 3 and 2 chain, and we'll have in our posts at the side. So we're going to have these posts and shells. And what I normally do is once I've done 10, I'll pop in a stitch marker so that I can easily count them to make sure I've got my 65. I just section off, pull out my yarn again, just section off the 10s, and that way it becomes easy to keep track. But we're going to do that until we have 65. So it's not difficult. 2 chain, turn the work. We're going to do our shell pattern. I'm not used to this hook. Our 2 chain in between. Oh, again. Maybe it's not my hook. And into this stitch as before to make our post at the side. It's like a ladder. So the only different row was this first one where we did our 4 lots of 2, including the chain that we started with. So I'm going to pause this video and I'm going to do 65, not counting this one here, and when I get to 10 I'm just going to pop a little stitch marker in this section here so that I know there's 10 this side of that, and then when I've done my 65 I will catch up with you again. Okay, so I've now got 65 and I'm on my very last row. So what we need to do is square that off again, the same as this way. So we're going to do our 2 chain and turn, and we're going to do 2 triple crochet, 1 chain, another 2, 1 chain, another 2, one chain, and our final 2, finish off by going into that same stitch as before to do our post at the side, and that's what it will look like. So we've squared off our ends, and now we can end off this pink yarn. And I wish I'd brought my brown tablecloth that I bought just for my tutorials before, when I had a flowery bed to sort of lean on back in the early days. No, it wasn't a bed, was it? What was it? Oh, my table used to reflect the light off it, that's right. Before I had a flowery bed in my very first days, and then I got a table that bounced light back, which was very annoying. So, okay, so what we need to do now is we need to attach our Hayfield Spirit around the outside. So I'm going to show you how we do that. I've got to find the end. Easier said than done sometimes. With it, the way they wind this is kind of bizarre, really, but I'm going to pause the video while I find my end. Well, that was a little bit of a mission, but lovely yarn. Just don't understand why they wind it like that. That's very annoying. Okay, so you take your end and you want to join it. When you're looking at the top part or the bottom part, whichever one you're joining to first, then this bit here will be the centre. And so on this side here, this will be a corner. So you want to join it here. So what I do is I will join my yarn and go through, do a chain with both my loops and cinch it down. Then just drop that. And I'm going to do a grouping of 3. Because it will be a corner, there will be a chain 1 and another group of 3, but we're going to finish off with that. So for now we're just going to do 3. So all we're going to do, and I'm going to drop the yarn there, that tail, because it gets confusing if they're in the way, is in each of these holes, that's just the end, don't take any notes of that, each of these holes around, we're going to do 3 treble crochets. Remember, that's a double in the US. So each one of those side posts will get 3. And we're just going to go with our first one. We're going to go all the way around and meet back here. So just simply 3 in each. Just like that. So I'm going to pause the video and I will catch up with you when I get to the bottom and show you how we go around the outside of our around the bottom. But for now, it's just make sure in between each of your shells on those side posts where these holes are, that you do 3 treble crochets in each, or double. So I'm going to pause it now and I will see you when I reach the end. Okay, so I've gone all the way along and I've stopped in the very last shell just before we get to this end part. So now when you're looking at these, you've got 3 holes. There's your 4 lots of 2, and there's 3 holes. So this is a corner, this is the end, which will be flat, and this will be a corner. So what we do is simply do 3 treble crochets in this first one, and 1 chain, and another 3. So it's making a corner in there. And then in this top part, because we want it to be flat, we're just going to do 3 as we have done all the way around. And in this one here, we're going to do another corner. Now, because this is the first one, we're going to go all the way around. But on subsequent rows, you will stop right there. And I'll show you what to do when we get to it. But for this particular one, we're going to carry on and go all the way round and meet up at the bottom. So we just finish off our corner and continue all the way along the other side now. I've just got to move my yarn. So there we are, that's the side we've done. Now we're going to go all the way back and I will pick up with you again when I get to the other side. But just as we did before, we're going to do 3 in each of our posts on the side, in between our shells, in every single one. And I will meet up with you when we get to the other end. But that's what the end will look like, just nice and squared off. Right, so I'm almost excuse me, I'm almost at the end. So I've got 3 to do in this gap here. Now, just as before, we've got the bottom, so that's one part of our corner, that's our top, and this one's our corner. So we do 3, Just pull my yarn around. A 3 in there. One chain and another 3 to make that corner. And just as we did at the other end, the very top part, we're going to do 3 to square that off. And just as this is one part of our corner, we're going to finish it off with 3 stitches, 3 in there. Pull out a little bit of yarn, 1 chain, and we're going to slip stitch into that top one, our top chain there for that very first stitch. And now we're going to end off. So we're going to cut the yarn and do a chain and cinch it down so it's nice and snug. So this is our first finished strip, and what we're going to do is we're going to make a total of, so that's our first one. We want 2 more of these strips, and then we're going to go around them but finish where I showed you. Let's got one here, so move that one out of the way. What we're going to do is we are going to go, pull that back, all the way around. We're going to start it at our, there's the end bit, that'll be one corner, and this is the other corner. We're going to start at this corner, just do half of it, go all the way around one side, just as I showed you just now. And then we're going to turn the corner and we're going to finish it by doing half of this corner. And then what we do, when you're ready to start that, we'll take our finished one. Let's move this yarn out of the way. Sorry, just knocked the camera. Let's move that down there, out the way. And we want to lay them. I normally sit, don't lay them, but of course showing you, I need to lay them. And they're not going to be easily laid because this is a round table and they want to fall off, which is fun. So making sure that we're facing upwards, you know, that these are facing upwards, we're going to, right. So there's our last stitch of that corner. I'm going to make it this way because I want it to be different. I don't want that purple to mix with that purple. There's a little bit purple on that side as well. Never mind, maybe we do it that way around. Let's see what we've got this side. No, it's not going to work, is it? It's either purple or that colour purple. That purple then. I want it to be different. So what we're going to do is we're going to find this corner and we're going to insert our hook facing down, and then we're going to bring our yarn up through it. So we've got 2 on our hook and we're going to slip stitch it. So that has joined it, and then because this is half a corner, we're going to finish that corner like this with 3 more. And then we're going to look along and we're going to find the next of our next 3. We're going to pop our, oh, hang on, I think it fell out. Let's come back through. There we are. So we're going to find our next one, pop our hook down and bring our yarn back up through, even if you have to turn your hook. Once you are sitting in your own comfortable chair and doing it the way you want, it will be much easier for you. And we're going to do 3 as normal. That one went a bit long, didn't it? I'm going to do that again. It's because the way I'm having to hold it. Right, so that's better. It doesn't matter if it goes a little bit long. It does work its way itself out, but that was a little bit elongated for my liking. So there we are. There's 3. and we just put them side by side again, and you can see the next one you need to go into is there. So you can loop your yarn up so that you've brought it up and slip stitch, and now we need to do our 3 in this one, making sure it doesn't get ridiculously baggy in the process. It's a little hard to show you, but just persevere. And if you're laying them flat, you'll see that you're just catching, so you're putting your hook through, bringing your yarn back up, and then slip stitching it, just like that, and then doing your 3 into the next one. So you're kind of joining as you go with a slip stitch in the in there. So then you can see where you got to put your next one in. If it helps you to do it this way, then by all means do, but I normally just sit in my chair with them dangling, and after a while you get used to it. But you just do your 3 into this one. It looks difficult, but once you get in the swing, I've got to pull some more yarn out, it's pulling. Once you get into the swing of it, it's actually quite easy, honest. There you go. You can see if you just hold them next to each other, you can see which one you've got to go into. There, you've been in that one, so you're going into this one, and you just pull the yarn through, slip stitch it, and then make your 3. But if you let go of your tension, then this loop here will just get very long and baggy. So I'll just try not to let that happen. And then we do the same with this one. Whichever way you find is easiest for you. If you want to lay it on the table, or you find it easier sitting in your chair, but I find it easier just sitting in my chair and then finding it, putting it in, bringing it through, slip stitching it, and then just, it is difficult though to keep it on camera when I'm showing you that way, but it is quite simple to see the next one, and then just loop it through, slip stitch it, do your 3. But if you find it easier, you can always lay it flat and you can see it nice and easy. And we're just going to keep doing that all the way along, just popping that in, slipping your yarn in through the hole and the slip stitch, and then I've got to pull some yarn out. I love this Hayfield Spirit, but if you could only see what's happening to my ball down there, it's quite scary that it's going to get into a massive knot. So that's a bit of a worry, but it's absolutely gorgeous yarn, just very strangely wound into a skein. Almost makes me wish I'd undone it all and balled it up first. So there you are, there's the next one. Yarn, you hook down, loop the yarn back up and slip stitch. And that's what it's looking like. And you just keep going all the way along, and I will meet up with you when I get to the end. Okay, so I've gone all the way along. I'll just show you. And they've joined. And that's what it looks like. So we've only got one more to join after this, and then that's all the hard work done. So I just need to finish this. Sorry, I kind of moved my thing out of the way. Let's reposition. Just need to finish this one off, and then I can show you what we do around the corner. Oh, it's very difficult now because I run out of kind of table and it just keeps falling off. Very annoying. Right, so now we're at the corner parts. So we do our first 3 treble crochets. Remember, that's double crochet in the US. And then we join to the corner. So we go into that corner, pull our yarn through, slip stitch. So now we've joined that corner, and now we're going to complete it by doing our 3 in there. There you are, see? And then our 3 in the top one. And then we've got to do our last 3 of the corner. And while I was doing that, you should have seen the knot that my yarn got into. So we're going to slip stitch into the top of those chains. And that completes our joining. We're going to end off, cut my yarn, and I end off by doing 1 chain, pulling it down and through, so it cinches it off nicely. So there we go, there's our first 2 strips joined. So I've just got to do the third one, which I've got around here somewhere. So I'm going to attach that when I find it, and meet you right when I get to the end, and I'll show you what we do at the end. So just to recap with you then, I've got to that part where I've done my corner this side, my centre and half my corner. Just going to show you, just to remind you how to join. So we go into the corner and we aim down, and then with our yarn we just pull it back up again and slip stitch, and then we're ready to complete that corner with another 3, and then do the same all the way along again, go into the next gap. So there's our corner and there's our next gap. So we aim down, loop our yarn through and slip stitch, and then go into our next hole, and that's, we carry on just as we did before, all the way along to the end. So this is what it looks like with the Hayfield Spirit being around the outside and a solid colour being the centre, but you could do that the other way. And I don't know if you remember, but some time ago I made this chair back kind of blanket, and that shows you what it's like when you use the variegated yarn as the centre with a colour around the outside. So you can do either, looks just as nice both ways. So just going to carry on now, joining this in exactly the same way as before by going into the next one, pulling that up through, doing the slip stitch, and then just making 3 in the next gap, and just doing that all the way along until we get to the bottom. And I will see you once I get to the bottom. Right, so I'm approaching the end again. Just getting towards the end, so just going to carry on until I get there. Should be my last full 3. And oopsie, dropped my stitch. It's just an odd angle to work at. So now I'm at my corner. So I do my first 3 of the corner. meet up with my corner this side. Let's remove that tail out of the way. That's one thing, is you've got all these tails to sew in at the end, which is a horrible job, but I always try and make it as thorough as possible when I do them. A slip stitch, and then do my last 3. I could be working over some of these tails just a little bit, but I don't want to make it more confusing. So there we are, we're back at this point. Do the 3 in the middle, and then finish off this corner, mustn't forget that, with another 3. Now 1 chain, and go into the top of those chains. Don't really need to end off. What am I doing? So I've slip stitched in. So now we have the scarf. We don't need any more rows. Now if you wanted to make a wrap, as long as you've made it long enough, you can just keep going, add in rows. You can do these different colours. You can do these the variegated, or just do them all solid. Like I have with this one, you can carry on and just make a blanket. That's inside out, that's the right way. No, it's not, it's right way in the first place. So you can just, it's because it's, you know, you obviously go back on yourself, so it looks all odd. So yeah, you can just make a blanket. You can do anything with it, really. I'm going to be doing a chunky blanket, maybe a crochet along in this this stitch, so that should be fun. So now, when I made the other one, I'll put it aside somewhere under there, I went around the whole of the outside, because where you've got 2 rows here, and you've only going to sneeze, sorry. Sorry, I didn't have time to pause it. Took me by surprise. Because you've got 2 rows of the colour here and only 1 on the end, I did another row around the outside. But I did half trebles, which was a half double in the US. But with this, oops, grabbed too much. But with this one, I did the same stitch. I did a whole row of trebles around the outside. So that's what that looks like. Just another row. So it depends what you want to do, what your preference is. But the reason I did half treble, which is obviously a half double in the US, is when you get to this end and you see it's got just a slight dip, I did my treble in this stitch and this stitch and this stitch and this stitch, and it kept it the same length as the half treble. It's just filled in this little bit, made it a little bit more squared off. But it's not ugly. You could actually, if you wanted to, do trebles and then do a slip stitch there, just to give that a little bit more of a defined curve if you wanted it scalloped at the edge. So don't really need to end off, but what we can do now is just do 2 chain and do a triple crochet, which is a double crochet US, in every stitch around. And when you get to the corner, just do 3 in the corner. And that's what that would look like. I preferred it with the half treble. It just looked a little bit nicer, I think. Didn't have to be. See, when you get to the corners, just make sure that you do 3. But I think it just finished it off a little more nicely. I'll get into that one. A little bit tight. Let's hook it. Still made it a little bit of a wider border without being overly long and too sort of stretched out, if you like. I don't know. I sometimes feel that a triple crochet or double crochet in the US is a little bit long a stitch for the border. It fitted in with this particular chair back, looked okay, but I didn't feel it would on the scarf. I wanted something a little bit neater. so I went for the half treble. But of course you can do a single crochet in the US terms, or that's a double in the UK, but you can do that around the outside and go twice if you wanted to, and then when you get to this point here, if you didn't want it to dip, you could do the half double there. So it's just really your preference with your border. My border I prefer with this shorter stitch. It's smaller, but at the same time you haven't got to go around it more than once if you don't want to. So that's it basically. Once you've done that, it's just a case of sewing all the ends in, but we're done with our scarf, and that's what it would look like. I think it looks nice with just a nice neat little finish all the way around. So I'm going to do that, and I will meet you once again when I get to the end here to end off. And just when you get to the corner, don't forget to do 3 stitches in the end. So that's all 4 corners. So I've made it all the way around. I've done my 3 in my corner, and I'm just now going to slip stitch into my first stitch, and I can end off, and I will show you how that looks. Cinch it down, pull it out. So that's what the ends look like. And what I did was, when I got to the dips, I did a treble crochet in there, so it squared it off nicely. I mean, obviously it's not blocked. I don't normally block stuff, but that's how it kind of comes out. That side, it's a little bit more noticeable because the colours are different, but on this side they turned out to be the same colour, which helped hide it a little bit. But that's how to make the scarf. And as I said before, if you wanted to make it wider, make it a blanket, use scrap yarns, make a wrap. I did a wrap for my daughter-in-law Gemma. It's on one of my videos somewhere, and it was out of this peach yarn and lots of other pretty colour yarns. It looked really lovely. But obviously that is completely up to you then what you do with the border. You don't have to have it flat and square. You can scallop it a little bit more. You can put tassels on the end of your scarf. Whatever you really want to do. But now all I've got to do is get rid of all these ends and sort out the massive knot that's in my Hayfield Spirit. Because as much as I love this yarn, it's sort of all the mermaid colours that's beautiful. It's a bizarre way of winding it, and I've got a lovely knot to sort out. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks so much for watching.